Companion is on.
We are good to go.
Oh, we are good to go. Hey guys. um good thing Shane recorded then because even the best of us have tech issues. And for Shane it's just quite simply hitting the record button.
I had it right. I just recorded it to my computer instead of to the cloud.
Awesome guys. Welcome to another episode of Dad Boss, where we talk all things business, being a dad, being a man in today's world. And same as last week, we have the one call anchor holding this show together, right?
This guy. uh,
Eric is not here with us. He's tending to some I guess manly needs. But he will be back with us next week. And even as I say that, there's no guarantee because Eric does Eric things. But right now, there is the two of us, guys. I'm Q, one of your co-hosts. And on the other end here, we have Mr. Red-Bearded Bee Eater. How are you, my friend?
red-bearded bee eater. How good's that? Just what do you do? I live on bees, mate.
Yeah, that's it.
And I got a red beard, so I'm angry.
Yeah. So he must eat like the delicacy type of bee, right? To get that red tinge.
Only from Scotland, mate. Only the Scottish ones.
What's happening? I know you've had a busy, couple of weeks, but mate, you were leading world-class pro coach training last week, and obviously family and everything else. How have you been, my friend?
Yeah, under the pump, mate. Under the pump. We were just chatting offline there earlier. So last 3 or 4 weeks been pretty busy. Next 2 weeks, super busy again. Then after that, might even take a few days off. That'll be a bit of a rarity for myself. Might take some days off and just sit down and watch Netflix on the internet, mate.
Good old Netflix, huh? You still paying for that?
Only reluctantly, because now they've got ads. You got to pay the premium to get the non-ads one, right?
Oh, I know, right? How just everything's getting more and more expensive in today's world, huh?
I know. Can we just spend an hour complaining about it?
Oh, let's just do that. Let's just whinge and moan. But it's funny you mentioned Netflix, right? Because last week, it seems like half of all the apps and all the applications online went down because of the AWS outage, right? Amazon Web Server. So like Snapchat, Canva, a lot of the world's most popular, websites and tools just collapsed. And the outrage that I saw online was like unreal. And Shane, you probably missed it because you were delivering some world-class trainings, and fortunately you weren't impacted in that way. But man, like the amount of like anger that I saw online because people couldn't log into an account or people couldn't access the tool to do something, just kind of like made me think, are we totally dependent on like the online space like today? And what is happening to people if they can't even just like chill out, or take that as a sign just to perhaps zone out and do something for themselves, because of whatever situation they're in. So we're going to have a conversation around that path, and kind of like make sure that we're seeing or perhaps still realizing what's important to us in today's world. So man, so like as we were saying offline, Shane, like you had no idea that this kind of like happened at all, right?
No idea, mate. No idea. Which is interesting because I was online for the whole 6 days for like 10, 12 hours a day, right?
Yeah. So yeah, and obviously you were caught up, so you weren't really checking your social media and whatnot, and you were just focusing on making sure that the participants of your training had access to you, and you could deliver. In saying all of that, right, mate, like how would you say, like how much would you say that your life is dependent on access to these online tools?
Well, in the industry or in the role that I have, it's very reliant because I'm on Zoom, I'm on Facebook, I'm on all the apps for the payments and the calendar and all that kind of stuff as well. So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's no doubt, like my business is very reliant on the internet. And I've had situations before where I spoke, when my internet at the other house went down and then
Yeah.
had to go to had to try and get that fixed. Turned out they couldn't fix it for a couple of weeks. So then had to find an alternative solution, which wasn't as fast, wasn't effective. So it definitely has an impact. But I think the bigger thing is probably the like that's my business that's impacted, but it's also how people see it impact their personal life as well. Like
Mm.
because they have an expectation that it's there, and when our expectations aren't met, then we get pissed off, which is what you would have saw. What you saw a lot of was like people were angry, enraged, and all that kind of stuff. Funny that they were probably posting online about not having internet, but yet they were posting online using the internet. So,
Yeah, that's it. They're in
but
the
I mean,
tail.
yeah, I mean, I understand what it's like when you go, I'm just going to log in and do that. And then you've got the time allocated. You go, I've got 20 minutes to do this. I'm going to log in. I'm going to do it. And then it takes you 20 minutes just to get logged in. And then it throws out the whole day. So now what it does is it disrupts your expectation of what your day was going to look like, which can easily lead to frustration, overwhelm, and all that kind of stuff. But I guess the interesting thing is if they're like pissed off about not being able to log in, like where did you find the time to find a way to connect to an internet to complain about it? You could
Yeah.
spend, even 3 minutes just jumping on some sort of platform to complain about it, or
Mm.
you could spend that 3 minutes catching up to get back on track.
Yeah, 100%, mate. And like, I love to get more around your line of thinking and your insights because, like we spoke about this, and like, your whole business was impacted, right? Like this is your livelihood. This is how you like earn money for your family and to pay for the put the roof over your head and everything. So like when that happened for you, I'm sure there would have been a little couple of mutters like underneath your breath, right? Um, but you didn't feel the need to like vent to the world or to like rage, like what like love to get an insight into like how you handled that situation compared to like what these guys are doing, right?
Oh yeah, I was pissed off. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, my initial thing was to try and get it resolved, which was to ring the internet company in that situation. Ring the internet company. They ran some tests. The thing that made it even more frustrating than my thing was we didn't have very good cell phone reception at home, so I actually had to leave the house to ring someone. And they're like, "Oh, just go to your internet box. Check is this light on and that light on." I'm like, dude, I can't do that. They go, well, just go back to your house. I'm like, no, you're not listening. I don't have service at the house to be able to do that. So that added another layer to it. I remember sitting outside the shopping mall trying to explain that, and it never worked. So yes, I could have sat there and argued with them and tried to fix it that way and all that kind of stuff. And we pursued with it, but it just didn't work. So we switched into problem solving mode, which was, okay, what's another option? So went to another telecommunications company where we knew there was a slightly better internet service than the one that our cell phones were on, and got a mobile device, sat it on a particular spot in the window which had the best amount of ability to pick up the range, and then managed to make it work. And it wasn't 100%, but it wasn't. To back to your question, like what do you do? You can sit around and bitch and moan about it, or you can get to work fixing it. And now we could talk about this in the context of tech right now, but what
Mm.
about in relationships? What about in a child that's not doing what we want them to do as a dad, or I say doing what we want them to do, but has got a dysfunctional behavior or behaviors. Like we can complain about it to our mates or to our family and stuff, or we can do something about it. And the faster we look at to like, how can I resolve this, or what else can I do? I think that's a really great question. Like anyone listening, maybe write that down, is ask, instead of going, oh, what's wrong? Ask, what else can I do in this situation in order to be able to get the outcome that I'm currently seeking to get right now.
Yeah, I so love that, mate. I so love that because um just to elaborate on it a bit more, like, we feel like when something happens and we don't know the solution, we just leave it, right? We just leave it instead of and like, oh, I can't do anything else, or I'm that's it. I don't know what to do. Instead of, as you said, what else can I do? I can seek expert advice from someone who does know, right?
Yeah.
you know and so like we're going through a couple of things with our youngest one, and Carly and I, we think we're well skilled, and we've done a lot of like self-learning and all that kind of stuff, but we at that time we just felt we didn't have the skill set to handle that situation, so we sought expert advice from pediatricians, psychologists, all these other people who know how to handle that situation. And so, like, yes, what else can I do? There's nothing else I can do. BS, right? Because you can always seek expert advice. Like in this case, you went to speak to another telco who
Yeah.
could offer you a solution, right? So, like, sometimes the solution is outside of us, and we just have to be open to exploring that as well. Um, Very cool, man. Very cool. That also like leads me to like, when I started to see this kind of stuff, right? Um, it started to make me think like, um, are we in a space where we're so caught up in the online space, or we're so caught up in the digital space that we're forgetting that there is a whole, not another world, but a whole world, right? That is the real world. And perhaps we're missing, these little moments for us to be present. And, perhaps instead of venting, we could go outside and stand in the sun and just bask in the warmth of that. Um, like for yourself, Shane, how do you kind of like make sure that you still see the world for what it is and not just get too caught up in the online space, especially when our businesses are online, right?
Yeah. And I mean, like everything's online now. Like we were even talking about Netflix is joking, but like, I mean, how many people actually just have have television off the TV aerial on the roof now? It's
Yeah,
all on the internet. Like we don't. We've only got apps that we watch any shows on.
yeah,
It's easy to get caught up in it, and I think it's probably more so now. Like, well, kids just aren't raised in an environment where they have to live without technology and
mm,
stuff. Like you and I, we grew up where TV stopped at 10 o'clock at night because there was just no shows and
yep,
didn't start till 5 a.m. We grew up where we didn't have a phone in our pocket. We were just,
yep,
you grew up in the city, you were probably down the street, well, hanging out with your mates, but we were out on the farm.
yeah,
So we learnt to create our own fun and entertainment without the requirement of the internet. What I think it also does was it actually built stronger community relationships. Like we were a rural community and learnt how to, have relationships and friendships with other people. And I'm not saying I had heaps of friends, but we learnt how to do that. Whereas nowadays, like, I mean, I'm sure you'll agree, it's not going to be long till everybody's best friend is Chat GPT or some
yeah,
AI
yeah,
tool. And I'm not saying everybody's friend, but there will be a lot of young kids that don't have actual friends.
yeah,
They actually build their own robot, they make them look the way they want, they make them talk to them the way that they want, and then they just have those friendships.
yeah, yeah. And mate, it's so interesting you brought up like perhaps some of the values that we no longer possess, right, because of technology. And it's like, yeah, like we grew up no cell phone and whatnot, but it's funny, right? Like we would have to remember phone numbers, so we
Yeah,
like punch them into the like the phone at home, or if you're out, it's a payphone, right?
yeah,
No, so you want to make sure that you dial the right number, yeah, or you lose
yeah,
your 20 cents.
yeah,
But on top of that, because we had no cell phones, um, if you told someone you're going to be there, you would be there,
yeah.
because there's no other way to let them know that you're running late or whatever it is, right? So even if you had like, I remember one time the quickest way to catch to get from my place to a city called Fairfield was to catch a bus and a train, right? However, we'd planned to be there by 11 a.m., right? And it was only like a half-hour trip. But because the train was down and we knew that it was down, I had to leave at like 9 a.m. to catch the long bus to get around to be there by
Mhm.
11 a.m., right? So it made you
Yeah,
even more resourceful to honor your word, right? And it's
yeah.
probably some of the traits that we're lacking these days, right? Um, because everything's so easy and so convenient, right? How are you kind of like, making sure that Ezra and your other kids are having those traits or values that are still important, you know, like in spite of the convenience that the technology world is providing for us, man?
Yeah, well, one thing we picked up on was we were giving Ezra way too much TV time and starting to use it as a babysitter. So we're now consciously like not going, oh, we'll just put the TV on for him. We let him just go and play with his toys or go outside and explore in the backyard more. So it's just that constant, that I guess that awareness on actually
Mm.
what are some of the things that maybe we've let go of that are currently going to produce, undesirable behaviors or habits in the future. So that's a big thing. I mean, he's 2.5 or nearly 2.5, so no doubt it'll grow as we grow. And then the other boys, I mean, they're both adults now, so they just do whatever they want.
Yeah, 100%, mate. They're like, "Hey, screw you, Dad. I'm going on TikTok for the next 3 hours."
Yeah, yeah,
But it's so true, right? Like, we're conscious of like screen time, right? So, I guess some things that we can set up are like just like parameters around screen time. So, for example, we tell the boys that, hey, you're gonna have like an hour of screen time, but you need to set a timer for 30 minutes so that you can have like a 5 to 10 minute break. But
mm,
that 5 to 10 minute break is not just you moping around the house, right? It's like going outside to shoot some hoops or to jump on the trampoline or something like that, right? So setting those clear expectations that allows you to control their behavior around that is really important. Um, I think that's key because this is the world they're growing up in. So they're going to use these tools. They're going to communicate online and all that kind of stuff. But setting those simple expectations early allows you to manage those expectations. Um, growing up. So one thing like we've Carly and I have said explicitly is like there's no devices in the bedroom. You know, like devices are outside in the living space where we can see you, we can support you. You can come see us if there's any issues that arise. So whether that's living room downstairs, living room upstairs, fantastic, but not in the bedrooms. And so because we've set that here now, with the intention of like moving forward when it's only a matter of time before they get their own phones and whatnot, right? They know that their phones will not be in the bedrooms with them. They'll be
mm.
outside, so all these little things um, make a difference. And then the other thing is like sometimes they watch Netflix, right, and TV and whatnot. But if they're on a device, like one thing we always try to encourage is to be a creator and not a consumer, right?
Yeah,
So hence, the 3D printing and that kind of stuff, right? Because they're creating these objects or they're searching these objects and they're creating like a plan or a model or some sort of like um, processes to allow them to learn how to use these tools to be a tool, learn how to use tech to be a tool that serves them, moving forward. So that's kind of like the lens that we're going through. And mate, like yourself, there's no right or wrong answer. It's just what works for you guys, but we just got to be conscious of that,
yeah.
moving forward. Um, Finally, Shane, like, what are some like reminders for yourself to make sure that you continue to take a break, but not just take a break, but just to engage in the real world yourself, to make sure that you're still present with Ezra and Jade and everyone else.
Yeah, I think the big thing is just the awareness. Like because I say always, but I've always got my phone in my pocket. But I've
Mm,
been aware that if my phone's in my pocket, as soon as there's like a 30-second window, I've got a habit of just picking it up to clear any last messages or anything like that.
mm,
So I've consciously been making that, like leaving it in the office or leaving it on the
yep,
bench or something else,
yep,
so that I don't, and just getting comfortable with that idea of it not being a part of me, which is, I think, a problem that a lot of people have, is they feel like if it's not in their hand or not in their pocket, they don't. It's not them. It's not who they are. And
mm,
then they go, oh, and now I've got this need to go and get it, even if there's nothing happening on it. And then that's when I think it is, and again, being guilty of it myself, is get caught in that trap of, oh, next thing I'm on TikTok, or I'm just on Facebook scrolling, or I'm just on a game, just filling in time, which then it just reinforces that it's a part of my hand, and it feels unnatural to not have it in my hand. So I have noticed I've picked up on that even more recently, on actually just consciously giving myself that time without it, and then
yeah,
earlier in the evenings now, putting it in the office and shutting the door and stuff like that.
yeah. No, I love it, mate. Love it. Uh, Before I share my insights, hey, like I noticed you got a phone cover on your phone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I don't have a phone cover, right?
Why not?
And I'll tell you why. Because they're big, they're bulky, they don't fit in your pocket. But you know what? One thing I learned, and I don't do it so much anymore. But you know, you were in the army, right?
Yeah.
What? Why do the servicemen always like twirl the guns around?
Because I'm bored.
But there's another reason for that.
Tell me.
It's so they know how to control it and they don't drop it.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So that you've just know every intricate part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So same theory applies for like whatever devices or whatever things you hold in your hand, right? So if you like one like if you're okay with holding a having a cover on your phone, great. I just don't like it, right? Because it's like big, bulky, like
Yeah.
it gets stuck in your pocket. So for the when I first got a phone and when I first learnt this, I kid you not, I drove Carly crazy, but for like that month, I was just like twirling around in my hand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never dropped my phone. Touch wood
Yeah.
now, because I've said it out loud. But
Yeah.
I've never dropped my phone. I've never dropped my phone. The only thing I have on it is a screen, like a tempered glass screen protector, just in case I drop it. The screen
Yeah.
doesn't shatter. But I've never dropped my phone.
So it's funny you say that because this one here, this is an old phone, right?
Yeah.
And I used to have a big bulky cover on it for when I was on the farm because
Yep.
it would always get damaged and stuff. So I had a big like, and it had the flap over the top.
Yep.
And I remember when I came to my very first NLP training, I was like taking photos and I had to open
Yeah.
it and then take a photo. Oh, this
Yeah.
is annoying. So I took it off the out of the cover for the week. And what I did that very first night is whereas this corner here, I dropped the
Yeah.
bloody thing, and then I dropped it like 6 times,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
in like the first 3 days,
Yeah.
because it felt so unnatural. And that goes back to what I'm talking about. Like it just feels natural to have,
Yeah.
a phone in my pocket. And even as you were talking about it, I notice I always hold it that way. Like if my hand's in my pocket like that and it's upside down, I'll just naturally flip it around
You just know, right? Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's more natural, right? And
Yeah.
it's just the way that it is. So yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. And I think it goes back to what I said. It's like it's almost like it's a bloody fifth limb,
Yeah.
or a part
Yeah.
of my limb now. And I feel uncomfortable, or we,
Yeah.
especially kids, they feel uncomfortable without it.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So yeah, mate, like keep flipping around until you can not have to like put a cover on it. And to be honest, I have dropped it, but the times I have dropped it, it's because I've put it on like my car and it's slid off. Right. Not me dropping it. So
I think I need to have a rugby ball, mate, so I can hold that
yeah,
more, so I don't drop
yeah,
that on the rugby field.
yeah. That too, that too. But mate, going back to what you said there, like one thing that's kind of like been a game changer for me is that I've set the intention of my phone being a work tool, right?
Yeah,
Or a productivity tool. And so when I'm not working, I just have it down in the office or on the charger down front, and it's okay, right? I'm not attached to it. And then when I do pick it up, because I've ingrained in myself that this is a work tool, that I am working on it, and so I'm doing like content creation, replying to SMSs, whatever it is, right? So that's kind of like the distinction that has helped me kind of like not be attached to this device. But it's also done as well is that um, I've like the boys know that now, that because we've articulated and communicated it, that when they see me on my phone, they know I'm doing work on it and I'm not just scrolling or Facebook or whatever it is. Whereas if
yeah,
they see like their aunties or whatever, they might just say, oh yeah, auntie so and so is like scrolling Facebook again, or
yeah,
auntie so and so is just watching YouTube. Whereas if they see me on my phone and Carly asked him what's dad up to. He's like, oh, he's just working on his phone for a bit, So it's having that distinction, but also articulating it as well to your kids is really important, because we want them to be able to see the tool as not just a must-have because all their friends are having it. It's got to serve a purpose in some capacity as well.
yeah.
Yeah. Cool, cool, cool. So, oh man, that was fun. Um, guys, tech, like yes, the digital space is a massive part of our lives these days, and it's only going to grow in terms of its influence on the future generations moving forward. But what we want to do is we want to make sure we set our kids up so that they're not completely in the tech space only, in the digital space, and they still are able to have those key values that are important that will help them succeed, because those values are always going to be there, right? And we want to make sure that they embody them. And you know what? Especially with like this day and age, like if they have those traits, right, of punctuality, resilience, they're going to be in the top 1%, because a lot of the kids aren't going to have them, right? Sadly. So, guys,
Yeah.
that's us, Dad Bods, Dad Boss for another week, signing off. And hopefully, three amigos will reunite next week. Woo! Oh, in unison.
Oh, look at that, mate. Look at it.